Welcome back to Keeping Up with Len and Brie. I'm Len.
I'm Brie.
And we thank you for tuning in to Season 1, Episode 2 of our new and exciting real estate-related podcast. Nice to see you again.
You too, Len, every week.
Every week we're going to do this, and we hope that you will faithfully tune in. You know, we were just having a very animated conversation.
We always are.
We always do. We always do. Usually before we do the podcast, we really get down and dirty and we just talk turkey. So that's a good analogy, the day before Thanksgiving. We talk turkey, we talk candidly, we speak plainly about what's happening in real estate.
We do, all the time. And with the holidays coming up, there's so much to talk about.
Indeed. Never a dull moment in this business. So this is our first annual, I guess, holiday episode.
Yeah, first annual Thanksgiving holiday episode.
Day before Thanksgiving. And I don't know about you, so we talked about this last time. I just adore the holidays. I am just, like I said, I am impossible to antagonize this time of year. In fact, today, the annual ritual of going to Raymond's Turkey Farm in Methuen.
Yep.
There was no line.
I went there too.
It was wonderful. There was no line. I got my turkey. Unfortunately, if you go on Wednesday, they don't have the mashed potatoes. Because I walked.
They didn't have them?
They did not have any
Did
more.
they have the gravy?
They had the gravy.
All right.
They had the gravy.
As long as they had the gravy.
I got the gravy and they had the
awesome.
stuffing. And they have those fresh killed turkeys. Doesn't get any better than that. But I don't know about you, but today, for me, I've got a very light schedule. We're doing this podcast, which is the high point of my day.
Yeah.
And after this, I'm meeting with some real estate agents in Dracut for a Thanksgiving, a pre-Thanksgiving celebration, if you will. And I'm just going to get in and out of there because I don't want to get myself into any trouble. I'm going to pick up a pie, also in Dracut, Massachusetts, have a cigar, and then just go home and relax with the family. What about you?
I had a busy day today, actually. I came here super early, had a couple of client calls this morning, and then I had a closing. My sellers came in for their closing.
Thank you.
And then I have this lovely podcast, and then I have a smoke certification in Lowell. And then
Ray Street?
Yep.
Love it.
And then I'm gonna go home and hang out with my kids too.
And I just want to pay you a compliment because you have just been, I guess, on fire, or as they say in Spanish, en fuego. You have just been absolutely killing it. I mean, you and I are putting deals together left and right. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, you're busy, you're everywhere. Your transactions are very smooth, are very well supervised, closing in a very peaceable way. I'm impressed. I just want to pay you that compliment because I've got a front row, I've got courtside seats to all of your transactions. I'm as close to the action as I can possibly be without actually being on the court with the rock in my hands.
When the holidays come up, everybody says like real estate dies down. Everybody isn't busy. Thanksgiving into Christmas, everybody says is really like the slow time in real estate, right? And people don't want to sell their houses. They don't want to move during the holidays. But for me, I mean, with relocation clients and all stuff like that, I mean, I think now is the best time to go and try to buy a house because there's not as many buyers out there chasing for the same house because they want to wait now until after the holidays are over. So I think now's the time to jump in and go look for a house so you're not competing with all the people that are now taking a break for the holidays.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. And if anything, traditionally, and I've been in this business for a long time, this time of year can sometimes provide a lull. And it's a welcome lull because you've been going strong all year long and finally you get what is essentially just a few weeks to maybe hit the mall, get some shopping done, get together with a friend, have a drink, that sort of thing. I'm not seeing that in my real estate future. I'm getting phone calls, I'm getting emails, my cell phone is blowing up from people that are trying to put deals together now. Those deals will be worked on throughout the holidays and close in early January or sooner.
Yeah.
So there's no rest for the weary. I think if you're in real estate, we like to get a little bit of a break around the holidays. I don't think it's in the cards.
Definitely not for me, but
I think so.
I don't mind that. I mean, it keeps me busy and it keeps me going, and I learn something new from every transaction, and I don't really welcome the lull. I'm done with my Christmas shopping.
Oh, are you really?
Oh, I am. I Christmas shop for my kids steadily for like the last 3 months, and I hide it all under the Christmas box and under the stairs, and all I have to do is wrap it. All my kids' toys, everything's done.
Any problems with the supply chain?
Nope.
No?
No problems, because I didn't start when everybody else is trying to get everything at the same time. I Christmas shopped 2.5 months ago.
Oh my goodness.
I'm done. And my Amazon account is well set.
I've taken things up a notch, but I'm still, to some degree, I'm still that crazy teenager that's going out like 2 days before Christmas Eve, looking around for presents. I know better than to shop that way for certain members of my family, but I'm still, I think a lot, and I don't want to be sexist about it, but I do think that a lot of us guys fall into that trap of getting started too late, and then there's too little to pick from. The supply chain could create real problems for us.
It could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, me and my husband aren't doing Christmas presents this year.
okay.
We bought a new car instead.
I see. Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yep.
That's nice.
We went shopping 2 days ago when he bought a new car instead of doing Christmas shopping. this
Very
year.
nice. Very nice. So I think the itinerary for this podcast, first of all, I'm just happy to be reunited. We did this podcast. Let's talk about it a little
did.
bit. I mean, it's enjoyable. We did the podcast. I think we thought maybe this would be a one-off experience. We'd do one, say we did it, check the box, and move on. But there was an electricity about it. I think we both enjoyed it. We realized it's helpful and informative for our listening audience to find out not only about us, but I think more importantly about real estate.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of my clients watched our first podcast and were like, oh, this was great. Like, I learned a lot about you. I learned a lot about real estate in general and how you structure VA loans and all that stuff from the first episode. And I think we just have like such a good working relationship that why not keep going on it? I mean, it was fun. It's a good time sitting here talking. I know there's a camera there, but it's really not there in the same way. We're just kind of sitting here having a conversation and dropping nuggets of information for people that are thinking about buying or selling, and it's a good way to educate them in a fun way.
I agree. And I think that, what I'm noticing in my travels, whether it's, being out to dinner with the family or a barbecue this summer, there's this growing fascination with real estate on the part of, and of course, people that are in real estate, it's been maybe not such a well-kept secret for many years now. People in real estate know all about this. I think they're trying to keep things on the down and low so the rest of us don't figure it out. But real estate is fun. You can make a lot of money with it. It's so positive. People are buying and selling. There's drama, to be sure. There's drama, but I love real estate, and
I do too. I like meeting all the new people. I mean, it's not so much even just like a client and me, and then I'm done with the client, and that's it. Like, I talk to the majority of my clients even after we close, and I go on play dates with them and their kids sometimes, and my kids, and I love meeting new people. It's a great way. I've made a lot of great friends that I'll probably have for a lifetime.
Well, not only that, but, and again, these compliments are from the heart. They're very sincere. I think what I like about your style when it comes to real estate, and again, this is my observation, because I see it all. I see people in this business, and I love everybody in this business, and that's why I'm in this business, because I love people. And if you don't love people, just don't even think about getting into this business, because this business is all people.
All people.
It really is. These houses, these properties, we just use them as a medium of exchange. But what I see, I do see all different types of people in this business, and there are some people that I think approach this industry with some angst and with some trepidation. But what I see, and I think that can be healthy too, because these are very careful people and they're very deliberate people. But what I see with you is I see somebody that's genuinely enjoying the journey of real estate and enjoying every aspect of it, whether it's putting the contract together, shepherding your clients through the inspection process, preparing for closing. You're walking into these closings just beaming, and it's just like, this is obviously somebody that's enjoying this process, and I think that enjoyment benefits everybody around you.
I do enjoy the whole process. I mean, and then I come in here and all smiles. My client's like, yay, it's closing day. And they're all excited because we kind of pump it up the whole time. I mean, it's an exciting time when you close on a house. You don't want to come in here and be like, okay, sign here. It's more like, and that's why I love working with you guys, because Andrew or you or Julia, it's always like a fun, upbeat time when we come to a closing. It's not dreary and in a room signing a paper, boring.
Not at all.
It's always a good time.
Definitely, definitely. And I've done closings with people that look like they took 2 shots of like cod liver oil before they came into the room. They're just an expression on their face like they're coming in here for a root canal, and it's like, no, this is a closing and it's going to be fun. We give out wine, we smile, we laugh, we crack a few jokes. I mean, it's a serious process and we take it seriously, but at the same time we realize that a little levity in real estate goes a long way. This can be a very stressful process. That's my editorial comment for today, and then I want to hear your thoughts. And this would be sort of a holiday sentiment too. I hope people will take this with maybe, you know, as a sort of a thought that I'm having around the holidays, but really even before today. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this too. People are really stressed out.
I agree.
More than I can ever remember before. I think real estate always has people feeling a little tense and feeling the pressure. It is a serious process. It is the single biggest investment that you'll ever make. It is a ton of money. It's all of those things and more. But I don't remember people being quite as petrified about this process.
I think people are really petrified because of what the market is doing. And they're seeing like, oh, okay, well, I was looking at this house and it was listed for $499. And then I went back and looked and it sold for $570. And they're like, okay, well, there's no way that I can do that. I can't buy a house. I'm going to be stuck here forever. And people kind of funnel from there. But I think, and it's very stressful, and they're like, okay, so what am I going to do? Should I start looking now? Should I wait another couple months? Do you think it's going to get better? This is the famous question I get asked all the time with every new client. Do you think that the real estate market is going to be better in January and February on to next year? I mean, I don't have an answer for that, nor do I think that it is going to slow down. I think that the market's going to stay pretty level to what we're at now. I think it's gotten a little bit better than the beginning of the year, but I don't see it really tanking or dropping down where people are going to be able to like negotiate under asking drastically and ask for concessions and get super a change. You know what I mean? I think it's going to pretty stay level as we keep going. And I think that people get very stressed out and scared about the whole process because of what's happened in the past year. But I think that with the right person beside you, you shouldn't really be stressed out. I mean, I think after I talk to my clients for the first time and the second time, it eases a lot of their nerves. I mean, it's a big process and a scary process for someone that's doing it the first time, but there's steps that we can put in place and explain to them so that when it comes up, I mean, you're not kind of like, oh my God, well, I didn't know how to do this. I mean, I talk closing costs, I talk funding fees, I talk everything to them before we're even looking at a house.
Right.
So that they're very well prepared and it eases their stress because they know exactly what's coming. I feel like if you don't let them know exactly what's coming for them, when things start popping up, they get very stressed out and they're like, well, was this a bad idea? Should I not do this? So I think just making sure that everybody is well educated before jumping into the process eases a lot of the stress.
I agree. I think we have a job to do. I personally try to find ways to manage my own stress because I certainly don't want to stress anybody out. So that's what I try to bring to the equation on a daily basis. I also try to be effective in my role so that my clients are inspired by that and so they are assured by that their best interests are being served and that I am paying attention to their real estate transaction, because that could cause stress if somebody feels that they're being neglected or that they're not in capable hands. But I really hope that, and I don't want to get into the pandemic, I don't know that there's much that we could say about it that hasn't been said already, but I will say that maybe the pandemic accounts for a little post-traumatic stress disorder.
anxiety.
A little bit. And then as we put more daylight between ourselves and the pandemic, and it becomes more of a kind of an ancient history thing, maybe people will return to form. I'd love to see people get that swagger back. I'd love to see people get that confidence back. Confidence is the opposite of anxiety. Confidence is the opposite of worry. I see worry, I see anxiety, I see fear. I'd love to see more confidence. I'd love to see buyers and sellers walking into a room, not being cocky or overconfident or arrogant, but walking into a
Excited
room excited and having confidence in the process, the home, the buyers, the sellers, the realtors, the lawyers, the loan officers. We have the best. We have the, and again, I'm pontificating a little bit here. I'm filibustering, but I've talked to people around the world about real estate. Of course, in some countries you can't even own real estate, so I mean, so there's that. But in other countries, owning real estate is a real pain in the keister. We have the most wonderful process for buying and selling real estate. I think, frankly,
In Europe,
on the entire planet. Well, talk to me about it a little bit. You've traveled, you've been around.
Well, when we lived in
you?
Germany, our neighbors behind us were native Germans. I mean, we lived in a German town, but the military owned the house or leased the house for us to live in. So when you're buying a house there, real estate agents, it is not a market like this. It's just not. I mean, there's no for sale signs that I can see in like houses. There's no drive, there's no marketing, like you don't see a real estate agent. It's not really a giant job like it is here. And most of them will build a house and live in it forever. They don't really move from there.
Right.
The people across the street from us lived in that house since they were all born. I mean, there was 4 generations of the same family living in the same house. So that's something very common over there. I mean, real estate is not like a buy and sell. All right, we're going to move to New Hampshire from Mass, and that just doesn't really happen over there. People, when they get a career, I mean, over there the educational system works different. So you pick your career in like 8th grade, similar to here. You pick your career path and you go to school. They split. The people that are going to do this go to the end school here, and the people that are going to become something else go over here. And usually they will pick a job and they'll stay in that job forever.
Right.
Like even something as like McDonald's. Like McDonald's in Germany and McDonald's here are 2 totally different things. The people that work at McDonald's over there have pride in their job. They work there for the rest of their life. So that's the same as, I think here we're always trying to hustle and change our jobs. Like maybe, I mean,
improve.
If you've watched the first episode, you've seen how many careers I've had, and I'm only 29 years old. But now I finally found my niche of what I absolutely love doing, real estate, and I'll stay doing. But in Germany, people don't change careers like that. So if they're not changing careers, there's no reason for them to move. So real estate is kind of like, we buy it, we live in it, this is it. We're going to live here forever. We can make improvements to the house, but they live there forever.
It's true.
So it's not really like an ever-changing market like it is in the U.S.
It's true. And not only that, but I think something that they have to cope with in Germany and Japan and some other countries, which is not a problem in the United States, is they've got negative population growth, right? So your average German family is maybe no children or one child.
Max. Yeah.
They don't have the sort of the immigration that we have in this country. So I think one of the things that we have in the United States, which is good news for people like you and me, which means we're going to be busy for a while, maybe for the rest of our lives, is that we have a growing, restless population, an increasing population, I think. I mean, I haven't consulted the statistics, but I think that between immigration and the fact that American families show no signs of shrinking. Maybe people aren't having 10 kids anymore, but there's still, people love having kids in this country. I have 5 of my own, so I'm a part of that.
I have 3.
You have 3, I got 5. I mean,
I'm done at 3.
We're drinking the Kool-Aid.
We're good.
I'm done at 5.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, people in this country, we love having kids. We have a lot of immigration. We have a lot of space to build homes, so we're not like these tiny European countries where they're basically building on top of each other. But we got the room. We got the people got the money. You're a realtor, I'm a lawyer, we got this. So I feel like people like you and me, if we just stay in our lanes and we don't, and we don't commit any horrible atrocities in our relative industries, I feel like we all we have to do, like Woody Allen used to say, showing up is half the battle. I think basically if we show up, we're in the game. If we operate at a high level, the sky's the limit. Because we have the people, we got the room, the people got the money, the professionals are here, ready, willing, and able to serve them and serve them well. So the recipe for this wonderful
and the job market.
And the job market.
The job market is good because I feel like there's a lot of relocation clients after COVID now. Now that stuff is starting to open up, companies are actually starting to hire a lot of people again, and they're trying to place them different places now, and traveling's opening back up. People are traveling for work again, going on work trips, and I think that's having an effect on the housing too, because now people are coming from Iowa into Massachusetts because their job relocated them here. Or like companies like IBM, they're hiring more employees. They're coming from different IBM locations and bringing them into Massachusetts, and they're going out and in, and people are starting to cycle through the actual relocation process again after COVID's over, and I think that's driving a lot of the housing market too.
It's true, and not only that, but we can't overlook the fact that we are in the Northeast. Now, it's not Beverly Hills, and it's not Manhattan, but this is a very prosperous, well-educated part of the country. There's a lot of expensive homes here. You really have to go pretty far out
from the city
to find inexpensive homes. I mean, let's face it. We're sitting in Nashua, New Hampshire. I live in Amherst. You live in Londonderry, correct? This whole area has just absolutely taken off. What I would call like hockey stick growth, like this. I mean, this is a hard area to get into. I mean, southern New Hampshire used to be somewhat affordable. I mean, my family originally moved here because Lowell was too expensive, if you can imagine. And southern New Hampshire was sort of a refuge, but southern New Hampshire is wicked expensive.
Yeah, Hollis, Amherst, Wyndham. Some of those towns have just like really skyrocketed the past 2 years and become a lot more expensive than it used to be.
Bargain hunting in this area is not for the faint of heart. There really are no bargains to be had. But so I agree with you, and I'm not as familiar with the European model as you are. But let's face it, in Europe, I think it's a different existence. I think people are living in smaller spaces.
Oh, yeah,
families
definitely.
are a little bit smaller. There's still this sort of larger than life feeling about America, where the homes are getting bigger, the cars are getting bigger. I love the confidence. I love the headiness. I want to see more of it. And again, my little editorial comment for today that I'm going to keep sort of squeezing in is I want to see people carrying themselves with that swagger and that confidence that I grew up around. I love it. Again, I'm not talking about overconfidence or cockiness, being too cocksure, but people
being sure of themselves.
People being sure of themselves and having confidence in this process. I see a lot of, and sometimes this lack of confidence, I see it sort of pop up in the form of mistrust and skepticism, so that people are they're going into relationships, buyers and sellers and agents, on a note of distrust or mistrust, as opposed to going in. I'd like to think that let's all give each other the benefit of the doubt going in. I'm just going to begin with the presumption, not assumption, because we know that bad things happen when you assume, but so we'll call it a presumption that I'm dealing with people of goodwill, people who can be trusted. And then once you've proven me wrong, you're going in a different category. But I'd like to see us get back to that. I think people are coming into these transactions with a certain level of mistrust.
That something is going to fall apart and something is going to happen to where they're not going to get the house.
And somebody's going to screw me over.
Yep, something's going to happen. Someone's going to screw me over. But I think that's also back again onto the people that are doing it. I mean, if that's how you start off your relationship with somebody, that's how it's kind of perceived. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
I mean, I'm a very blunt person. I mean, you know that.
I like that about you, but you are very blunt. You don't pull any punches.
No, and I don't filter. I just say it how it is. I mean, this is what's going to happen. And I mean, some things come up. I mean, random things will pop up and you have to deal with them as they come. But as long as you yourself, you're sure of yourself and you know what you're doing and your clients are able to understand you, like, and you talk about the whole process, then there shouldn't be that mistrust.
Right.
I mean, and when there is that mistrust, I feel like something faltered somewhere where you built that relationship with the client.
Right.
Because if my client mistrusts me, then I did something wrong in the beginning. Why, if they're coming in mistrusting me, I should have fixed that day one and not let it get to a point where we're coming into closing and they're still weary, checking the papers, making sure everything is exact. And I mean, I encourage everybody, of course, to go over their paperwork, but if you're fine-tooth combing it thinking we messed something up at closing, then I messed up somewhere. We all messed up somewhere.
It's true.
I mean, and I don't have that happen in my transactions, but
No, you don't.
it's something that I feel like everyone should do. I feel like when you choose your realtor, not every realtor is for you. I mean, I may not be for somebody, and that's fine. And I think that everybody should choose their realtor based on how they feel about talking to them. I mean, interview somebody, talk to them the first time, and decide if that's going to be the best person and fit for you moving forward on purchasing a house. Because I feel like a lot of that mistrust maybe comes from two different personality types where they can't really talk and get their point across to each other. So they're kind of stuck at this wayward point for a while, and no one understands the other one, and it just creates a snowball.
It's true. It's true, and I think that's important. I mean, I know, and talk a little bit about managing your relationships with other agents, because that's an area I really like. So I always sort of start my question with a statement, but I would just say one of the things that I really like, and I learned a long time ago, is as an attorney, short of being a doormat, nobody wants a doormat for an attorney, I think it's important to maintain positive relationships with colleagues, and I pride myself on that. And I don't think there's an attorney in this business that I can't work with. I'm not a yeller and a screamer. I don't write lousy emails. I don't tell people to get bent. I really try to keep it professional, and I can disagree with somebody without being disagreeable. And I learned this from the best attorneys, the most educated, the most hardworking, the most intelligent, the most committed and dedicated to their clients, and they put very, very little premium on getting into arguments with other lawyers, and that's just getting into an argument. We were told don't make what they used to call ad hominem attacks, which is when you attack somebody personally as opposed to going after the sort of professional component of what it is,
Yeah, I feel like people really need to separate personal relationships and professional relationships.
True.
I mean, you can have a personal relationship with somebody, but when we're doing a deal on a real estate transaction, I don't care if Susie's my best friend. Like, I'm representing my client,
Good
what's
point.
best for my client. If Susie says, well, my client wants this, come on, Brie, like, just help me out. Like, I'm sorry, like, we're not friends right now.
Right.
We're colleagues, and we're working together to do a deal that's best for both of our opposing clients. So, I mean, that's like that with everything. I mean, if maybe people that you work with in the same office, like, you have struggles personally, but if you're going to do a deal together, you need to learn how to separate your personal relationship and your professional relationship. Because if you bring personal relationships into professional, it creates a horrible snowball effect for everybody. I mean, it's going to affect your clients. It's probably going to affect you as the attorney. It's going to affect the mortgage person, because this one's going to be fighting on this end because now we're personally fighting. So our relationship is gone, and you don't really want to, at the end of that, we're fighting over work but made it personal. So now we don't have a personal relationship anymore.
Right.
Like, we're not friends anymore. We're going to be colleagues, and that's it now, because something that could have been easily solved by, okay, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm not going to attack you and your personality and who you are, and something that happened 5 years ago on a boat in Costa Rica or something. You know what I mean?
I do.
So it's very separating your personal life and separating your professional life with your colleagues is, I'm not saying you can't be friends with people you work with. I mean, you can go out to dinner, you can hang out, but you have to draw the line where when we're at work, we're at work. We're not having dinner and drinks.
That's true.
doing a deal and doing a transaction, and we're here for our clients. We're not here to be friends. You know what I mean?
I do.
So that's, I think, something that causes a lot of friction in the real estate world, because there's a lot of drama. I mean, there's a lot of drama everywhere. There's drama everywhere. But I feel like when I deal with a realtor, like, yeah, I'm friends with a lot of them, and that's great. But a lot of them that I work with have to separate the personal. And sometimes we have to be like, listen, it's a deal. It's not personal. We're just going to move forward, you know?
Yep.
But I think there's a lot of drama, and people get offended because your client wants something and they think it's personal, and there's just a lot of issues sometimes. But I think just keeping it professional at all times keeps everybody in the loop and a transaction moving smoothly. And I think that's a big portion of something that I worked on years ago, maybe being in the military. You have to separate. You have to separate yourself, because you can't go to work and maybe that person has a little bit more rank on their chest. Because you're friends, you can't just act like you're friends at work, you know? And that helped me separate personal and professional relationships going forward in other careers that I've had since.
Well, let's face it. I mean, if you're receiving military training, I think first and foremost is this understanding that you may need to defend the life of a fellow soldier that you may loathe on a personal level, but soldiers need to be able to count on each other and rely on each other. I mean, we've all seen Top Gun. I mean, we've all with all these movies where these people that absolutely detest each other have to kind of jump into that same foxhole or fly in that same squadron and protect each other's lives. So I think in the military, they probably just instill that on day one. That you
I mean, it doesn't matter if you hate each other. You're all here for the same team, for the same fight. And that's true in every profession. True. But I think
it's life or death in the military.
Yeah, but it also gives you qualities when you get out that you can somewhat put into your professional relationships and whatever you're going to do for your profession. I mean, things that you do there, I think I see the difference when people, like I work with mainly veterans a lot. So it's very smooth, like we understand each other. It's very, okay, this is how it's going to go, and our personalities jive, and that's just how it is. But I think sometimes we have to kind of dial it back and decide how to separate the relationships.
You do, and again, I really want to pay you that compliment because I really like the way you operate, and I think, frankly, you could work with any buyer. So I don't, and I know you're not limited.
Oh, I don't limit myself,
no,
but
not at all. But you absolutely, with a VA buyer, you really do have. I mean, I've seen you on conventional FHA cash. You could work with anybody, but with it, so that's a testament to you and your versatility and your range. But with a VA buyer, you really are able to put things into a higher gear. And sometimes I see you having conversations that I'm not even able to follow because you're almost speaking like veteran. Whether it's the acronyms or whether it's the abbreviations or the lingo, you really are able to speak to the veteran on their level. And you're able to understand their concerns. I mean, you shared some stories with me about you and your husband's difficulties overseas, and the lockdown was more stringent in Germany and the different things. I mean, I just don't think these are things that John Q. Public, as we used to call him, or Jane Q. Public, is really aware of. I mean, I think we know that veterans have made a sacrifice, and they're defending their country, and they're putting it all on the line for Uncle Sam. We know that, and we appreciate that. I know I do. But I wonder how many of us appreciate the day-to-day hassles and inconveniences that our veterans are taking on the chin and not complaining about, by the way. No complaints. I only know about these things because you've been kind enough to share some of these stories with me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sacrifices that people don't think about. I mean, they think, okay, yeah, you sacrifice for the country. Awesome, thank you for your service. But the sacrifice goes so much deeper than just for the country. I mean, it's an everyday kind of thing. Like, I mean, for me and my husband are always like, oh my God, is this ever gonna end? Like, now we're starting a new chapter since he's back in the US, but now he's going to Fort Bragg and we only have 3 years left on his contract. So we're now sacrificing Monday through Friday, and he's gonna try to come home on the weekends. And it's just, we're sacrificing again, but we're sacrificing for our kids this time. I mean, to move them back to North Carolina for only 3 years. They're losing their sports, their friends, their schools, their everything. And I keep my kids busy, you know. They all have 2 sports and they all do something every day. So for me to just uproot them and know that we're coming right back in 3 years is kind of like a shift for them. I mean, it's too much. And me and my husband talked about it, and we're going to sacrifice our family togetherness once again for the kids and for what's going to be best for our family. But at the end of the 3 years, I can't wait to tell you how excited I am to just be done sacrificing anything and have a normal life where my husband comes home at night and we're like, hey, what do you want to do for dinner?
Yeah.
Never happened. It hasn't happened in years, so.
Well, I mean, you were separated from your husband for a while. He was in Germany. You were here. You were raising the kids. He wanted to be here. You wanted to be there. The kids want dad. I mean, you lived this. You went through this. So I think when you sit down with a VA buyer and they explain their situation that some of us might pay lip service to, but not completely understand, because I have to tell you, when you told me that you and your husband were separated and that this was the military way, I was surprised. Because I thought, geez, that's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask from him, and it's a lot to ask from Brie. And
some people choose not to do it.
I understand.
I think that's a very personal choice. We chose to do it. We've been doing it for years. I mean, even when he's home, he goes to work 4:30 in the morning, comes home at 8 o'clock at night. So for the most part, I don't really see him during the week anyways. I mean, he comes home and I'm like putting the kids to bed, and I'm probably not far after them.
I hear
so, I mean, we spend maybe 45 minutes, an hour during the day. I mean, we don't do breakfast together. We don't do coffee together in the mornings. On the weekends, sometimes, unless he's working or in the field for a month or something. So for us, I mean, the sacrifice is, all right, well, I'll see you on the weekend anyways, so what's the difference? But
True.
Some people don't really see it like that, and that's a personal choice. I mean, that's a big choice to make, to separate your family for 3 years. But for us, it's just what works best for our kids and our family and what we want in 3 years when he gets out.
I just think it's a real service that you're doing for our veterans that are buying and selling homes in this area, that you bring that perspective and that background, and that you are a veteran and that you're married to a veteran and you've lived that life, so you have so much insight to offer. I don't want to run out of time here. I want to make sure we cover all the important issues. I'd like to direct our viewing audience to our logo here. Is this something or is this something? So when we did this podcast and we're sitting down and we're talking, we thought, let's just go big. Let's do a logo.
Yeah. Let's do the whole thing.
Let's give the show, let's give it a name. Let's just take this, let's just grab that ball and just run like into the wild blue yonder with it. But this logo, I will tell you, was market tested between you and me and a few other people, and I love it. Keeping up with Len and Brie. I love the font. I love the color. It's got a lot of, it's very punchy. It's got a lot of, it grabs you. It grabs
it's
you.
modern and fresh, and
it's very exciting. And I also will say that before we got this podcast underway, we were sitting down and we were exchanging ideas and our phones were blowing up. This business, I'll tell you, I think sometimes, I don't want to let this secret out, but I will, and I know it's not a secret because we're podcasting here. There are days that I wake up in the morning, and I get up usually every day at, I don't know, today I got up at 3:30 in the morning, so you can tell I'm feeling pretty motivated. There are days that I get up in the morning and I say to myself, you know what? I don't want anybody to find out, but I would do this for free. I would do this for free. I mean, I like getting paid and I want to get paid, but to me, it's so entertaining.
It's rewarding.
It's people, it's drama, it's money, it's real estate, buyers and sellers. It's this active, like petri dish, this marketplace that is alive. It's store 24. It never closes. It never shuts down. I get up in the middle of the night sometimes and I've got like 50 emails because I'm dealing with people in different time zones in different countries.
I do too.
It's like Wall Street. It never sleeps. It never rests. And I love it. I love the energy. I love the vim, the vigor, the vitriol. There are days I wake up and I say to myself, I don't want to let this secret out. I would do this for free. I would do this on a voluntary basis and then just let people pay me as they were able to. But it just so happens that we don't need to volunteer or do it pro bono, because people in this business get paid and paid well. And I think it's because it's a hard business. The stress is a killer. It's a silent killer. But talk about how you fight that stress. Talk about what motivates you. where are your hot buttons, and what pushes those hot buttons? What gets you revved up about real estate? What do you love about real estate? I put my cards on the table. Put your cards on the table.
I love real estate, like I said, for the people. I mean, I love real estate. I think it's an ever-changing market. No two deals are alike. It's always changing. I was a paramedic before I did real estate, and I loved it because I never knew what I was going to work to do that day. And real estate is very similar. I mean, you never know what client's coming in front of you and what they want and where you're gonna go. I mean, I'm licensed in 2 states. I can go all the way down to Boston. Maybe I'm going to the city for the day, and that's fun, and I'll make a day of it. And like, do you want to go get coffee? Or maybe I'm going to the Lakes region to go look at a house. I mean, and I do. I go all the way each way. So for me, it's always a surprise what I'm going to do with a client for a day, and the people that I meet, and all that is awesome. And like you said, the secret of I would do it for free. I mean, I would. I mean, I love doing stuff for people and helping them figure out what they're going to do for their next chapter of their life. Their next chapter is in a new house. I mean, this is where they're going to live. They're going to raise their kids. They're going to play in the backyard, have barbecues, holidays. It's rewarding.
It is.
It is rewarding. It makes me feel happy to help them start their new chapters.
And thankfully, it's not social work. We don't have to do it on a voluntary basis or pro bono. Real estate people get paid very well for what they do, and I think that's what attracts a lot of us. I have to say,
At the right place.
Yes, there's
Sometimes.
no question.
Real estate agents have to shop around, I think, different brokerages, different people,
Yes.
and see where they're going to be the best fit for what they want to do. I mean, some agencies will take a lot of your money, and you work really hard for that money, and they'll just swoop in and take half your money when you worked so hard on that transaction. I don't think that's fair. I think you need to really find an agency for what you want out of real estate. I mean, me, I prefer no one helping me. I don't like people in my stuff. I mean, I run my business the way I want to run my business.
You're very independent.
Yes, I am very independent.
In a good way.
And I don't like people tapping into that. And I think that when someone starts tapping into that and they're trying to shove their ways on you, and while also taking your money, that you're not getting anything from them, and you're very independent, that is very not a good working relationship. I think you need to find what's going to fit you best and run with it. I mean, I think people need to really shop around when they decide to go with a brokerage.
It's true. To use an analogy, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful business, but it does have a few bad neighborhoods. And I would say that the dark side of real estate is that sometimes that financial motivation, which we love, because I think financial motivation really does bring out the best in people. Anything worth doing is worth doing for money. But sometimes the dark side of those atmospherics and those animal spirits are greed, selfishness, dishonesty, people cutting corners, people playing tricks on each other. So, and we've all
that's something that happens a lot, I feel like.
We've all seen that. We've all been the victims of it. It's unfortunate. I love people that are financially motivated. I can't stand people that are greedy. And and there's a the old expression, right? Hogs get fed, pigs get slaughtered, right? I mean, we could throw out all these expressions. I remember hearing that one a lot growing up. There's a fine line between I love being financially motivated. It brings out the best in people, but nobody likes greed and selfishness.
No, I mean, when you're greedy and selfishness, it just derails everybody underneath you.
Yeah, these are not good things.
I don't.
So, and we know the people in this industry that are susceptible to that, the people that have sort of fallen prey to it. I prefer selflessness, and also I believe, and we got into this a little bit during the podcast the last time, I believe very strongly that the surest way to be successful is not to worry about the money. If you do what you love, and you love what you do, and you do it with a passion, and you do it with a verve, I feel like the money will always follow. You'll get rich without even knowing it. But if you're obsessed with the money and you're obsessed with, you know what, you're living it, you're living proof of it. You've just gone out there and just tried to kick up as much dust as possible. You're making fabulous money. You're driving around in a beautiful car, wearing nice clothes, living a life that many of us could only dream about. And I don't think I've ever heard you talk about money, complain about money, or worry about money. You're living it. You're basically just following your passion, and the money is like in hot pursuit. And the people that I've known along the way that were obsessed about $50 here, $100 there, those are the people that decades later are still sort of beset by financial woes because they were too focused on the money and not focused on what's important.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be more focused on your job and building yourself and building your knowledge base and what you're going to give your clients, and worry about the money after.
I agree.
I mean, everybody loves money. I love money. You love money. Everybody loves
We
money
live in
the
a
whole world.
capitalistic country. That's
I
how,
mean,
you know.
it is what it is. But I feel like if you take pride in yourself and you take pride in your knowledge base and what you're gonna give somebody for their money, I mean, yeah, the money's gonna follow you. But if you're not doing what you should be doing in a transaction or for your clients, then you shouldn't even be worrying about the money. You should be worrying about yourself and teaching yourself so that you can do better for them, and then letting the money follow you.
I agree. I agree. It's so true. Focus on greatness. Focus on being great. If you're a great realtor, and you are a great realtor, if you're a great attorney, I hope to become a great attorney. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. Focus on being great at what you do. And the money, it's going to be there, trust me. You just got to believe me on that one. Let's talk briefly about Thanksgiving, because I think we're running out of time. We've got some people in this room that are sort of gesticulating at us, which I think means that we need to wrap things up. So let's talk a little bit about Thanksgiving. I've already talked a little bit about mine. There'll be turkey. There may be some adult beverages, hopefully not too many, because I need to be somewhat lucid and vital on Friday. There will be desserts with thousands of calories that I should just stay very far away from. Talk to me about Thanksgiving at Brie's house. I want to know every detail. Spare me nothing.
I did Thanksgiving yesterday with my mom's side of the family. We did our Raymond Turkey Farm. We did Thanksgiving already. We had our awesome stuff. And then on actual Thanksgiving tomorrow, I'm going to go to my dad's side of the family with my kids and my grandparents and stuff. And we're going to do some turkey, some sides, some adult beverages, some grab picking. We always choose a name in a grab on Thanksgiving, and then whoever you get, you buy for Christmas.
Right, Secret Santa.
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah.
Yes.
So we do that every year, and that's something we'll do. I made homemade coquito for my family. It's kind of like eggnog, but it's the Spanish version of eggnog, so I'm bringing that with me.
Do you spike that or no?
I do.
Okay, because we spike eggnog around here.
Yeah.
Or at least I do. I thought everybody did
I make it for the kids without it, and then I make it with it for all the adults.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
For my money, I like the dark Jamaican rum in my eggnog. I know a lot of Southern Comfort people. Anyways, just take your pick.
Actually, I make it with Bacardi.
Oh, I like that too. I mean, this is all
It's
good.
different. I'll bring you some.
Oh, would you please?
Sure.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I won't turn it down. So you have sat through another enjoyable, hard-hitting, entertaining, no holds barred episode of Keeping Up with Len Brie.
And we'd also like to invite you guys to comment below if you want to know about specific areas of real estate. I mean, there's no better people than the viewers to tell us what you want to hear us tell you and talk about and educate you about. So if you want to drop them in the comments, then we'd be happy to
absolutely
add it into the show next week.
This is unscripted. This is candid. This is from the heart. Please leave some comments. Set the itinerary, set the agenda for our next show. You have watched at home, Keeping Up, excuse me, we are at home. We're in the office and that's home. Keeping Up with Len and Brie. This is Brie.
And this is Len.
Okay.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.